Welcome to Learn English podcast.
Why I can't remember English words when speaking. ** English speaking tips. Hello everyone. Whether you're just starting to learn English or you're looking to improve your speaking skills, you've come to the right place. Before we start this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel to get daily videos, and I don't want you to miss any of our lessons. Do you know this feeling? You want to say something in English. You know the word, but it disappears. Your brain goes empty. You feel nervous, embarrassed, angry. Why does this happen? You studied, you learned this word before. You saw it in a movie. You wrote it in your notebook, but now, nothing. Is your memory bad? Are you just not good at English? That's not the reason. And today, I will tell you the truth. I will tell you why you forget words when you speak English, even if you know them. And I will show you how to fix it. Step by step. Easy and simple. If you are learning English, you need to watch this, because what I'm going to tell you today can change the way you speak English. So, stay with me till the end. Let's begin. Chapter 1. You know the words, but you can't find them. So, you learned a new English word. You saw it in a movie. You wrote it in your notebook. You practiced it. You understood it. Great. But then, one day, you try to use it in conversation, and it's gone. Just gone. You feel confused. You think, I know this word. Why can't I say it now? This happens to many English learners. Actually, this happens to almost everyone learning a new language. It's not just you. It's not because you're bad at English. It's because you are trying to go from passive vocabulary to active vocabulary. Let me explain. Passive vocabulary means words you understand when you see or hear them. For example, when you read the word umbrella in a book or hear it in a film, you know what it means. But active vocabulary means you can use that word when you need it, when you speak or write. And that part is harder. Your brain is like a big library. You have many words inside. But when you speak, your brain doesn't have time to search for the perfect book. You need to speak quickly. So, your brain only uses words that are already easy and fast for it to find. That's why many words stay locked in the library. They're there, but you can't get to them fast enough. I had a student named Amir. He was from Iran. Amir was very smart. He studied hard. He had a vocabulary list of more than 3,000 English words. He could read very well. He could understand English podcasts. But one day, I asked him a simple question. What did you do yesterday? He looked at me. He smiled nervously. He said nothing. He didn't forget the grammar. He didn't forget the words. But he couldn't find the words fast enough to answer. Why? Because Amir's brain was trained for reading, not speaking. And this is a big problem in English learning. In school. We read and write a lot. We learn grammar rules. We memorize word lists. But we don't speak enough. So our brain becomes good at input. Reading and listening, but not good at output, speaking and writing. It's like this. Imagine you're training for a race, but instead of running, you only watch videos about running. You read books about running. You study the rules of the race, but you never run. Then one day, someone says, "Okay, run now." What happens? You can't do it, even if you know everything about it. Speaking is the same. You can know a lot about English, but if you don't practice using the words out loud, your brain will not be ready to speak fast. So when you try, the words disappear. Here's something funny. You know the word umbrella, right? Everyone does. But imagine this. It's raining. You are outside with your friend. You want to say, "I forgot my umbrella." But you panic. You feel rushed. You say, "I forgot my..." The rain thing. Your friend looks at you. You both laugh. Umbrella. You remember. You feel silly. But actually, this is very normal, and it shows exactly what happens. You know the word, but your brain didn't give it to you in time. This is not a problem of knowledge. It's a problem of training. Your brain is not trained for fast access in real life. But don't worry, it can learn like a muscle. Your speaking brain gets stronger with practice. You just need the right kind of practice, and we'll talk more about that soon. But before that, we need to understand something else, something that makes this problem worse: nerves and pressure. When you feel nervous, your brain gets slower. It's like trying to type on a computer when your hands are shaking. It's hard. That's why in the next chapter, we'll talk about stress and why nervousness makes it even harder to remember the words you already know. So keep watching. We're just getting started. Chapter 2: Stress stops your words. Do you ever feel like your brain just freezes when you're speaking English? It's like the words you know suddenly disappear, especially when you're nervous. It happens a lot in class, when speaking to a native speaker, or even when you're giving a presentation. But why does this happen? Why do we forget words when we're under stress? The answer is stress itself, specifically the fight or flight response. In your brain, when you're stressed, your brain thinks it's in danger. It goes into survival mode, the fight or flight mode. This means your brain starts focusing on staying safe, not on remembering words. It releases chemicals like adrenaline, which can make you feel anxious, panicked, or even a little shaky. And guess what? Stress affects the part of your brain responsible for language. So, when you're nervous, your brain can go into a kind of freeze mode. This is why, even though you know the word, you can't find it. It's like you've hit a mental block and your brain just isn't cooperating. Here's the thing. Even native speakers forget words under stress. Yes, it's true. We've all had moments when we're speaking quickly or in an important situation, and suddenly the right word just slips away. It's totally normal. It happens to everyone. But here's the good news. It's temporary. With a little practice, you can train your brain to stay calm and find the words you need, even under pressure. So, how do you deal with stress when speaking English? One simple trick is breathing. Before speaking, take a few slow, deep breaths. This helps calm your nervous system and gives your brain the time it needs to process the words. When you breathe deeply, you're telling your brain that there's no danger and it can relax and focus on what you want to say. I'll give you a real-life classroom example. I once had a student named Clara. She was always nervous in class, especially when speaking to other students or to me. She was a great student. She knew a lot of words and could write well. But when it came to speaking, she froze. She would forget simple words. Even though she knew them, we practiced a simple trick. Before speaking, Clara started to pause and breathe. It wasn't a long pause, just a moment to collect her thoughts and calm down. She quickly noticed that when she paused, her brain had time to remember the right words. Soon, Clara felt much more confident. She wasn't rushing to speak anymore. She was giving herself a moment to breathe, which made all the difference. Now, let's talk about how to buy time when you don't know the word immediately. This is a trick that works wonders in conversation. You can use phrases like, "Let me think. What's the word? How do you say?" These phrases give your brain a little more time to find the word you need. It helps you stay calm and gives the impression that you're thinking, which of course you are. But it also prevents that awkward silence and keeps the conversation flowing. When you use these simple pauses, you're actually buying time for your brain. And trust me, your brain will thank you. So remember, stress is a natural part of speaking a new language. It happens to everyone. The key is learning how to handle it with breathing, pauses, and strategies to give yourself time to think. It's not about being perfect. It's about staying calm and confident in the next chapter. We'll talk about how to turn this stress into something positive, how to make your brain stronger and better at speaking, even in stressful situations. So keep watching. I've got more tips coming your way. Chapter 3. You don't practice speaking enough. Let's talk about something that might surprise you. The real reason why you forget words when speaking English is that you simply don't speak enough. You might be thinking, but I listen to English all the time. I read books, I write, I study grammar, and yes, all of that is helpful. But here's the thing. Listening, reading, and writing are all forms of input. They help you understand the language. But they don't train your brain to speak. Speaking is. The output. And output is the key to remembering words while you speak. Imagine this. Your brain is like a muscle. If you don't exercise it, it gets weaker. It's the same with speaking. If you don't practice using the words you learn, they stay locked away in your brain and become harder to access. But when you speak often, you activate those words, and they become easier to recall. This is why so many learners struggle with speaking. They focus so much on grammar, vocabulary, and passive activities like listening, but they forget the most important part, actually speaking. Grammar is important, yes, but it's fluency. The ability to speak smoothly and naturally, that you really need to build, and fluency comes from practice. So, how can you train your brain to remember words while speaking? First, let's talk about a technique called mirroring. Mirroring is when you repeat exactly what you hear or see. This helps you practice speaking. In a natural way, you can mirror by watching videos in English and repeating what the speakers say, trying to copy their pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. This will help you start using words more actively. Another technique is shadowing. Shadowing is similar to mirroring, but here you're speaking along with the audio at the same time. It's a bit like speaking in sync with a native speaker. It forces you to react quickly and helps you improve your fluency and word recall. But what if you don't have a partner to practice with? Here's where you can talk to yourself in English. Sounds weird, maybe. But trust me, it works. You can have short conversations with yourself. Describe what you're doing. Share your thoughts out loud. Or imagine you're explaining something to someone else. It's like having a one-person conversation where you're practicing everything you know. One of the best ways to get started is by setting a timer and speaking for just 1 minute a day. That's it. Just 60 seconds. But do it every single day. You might think that 1 minute isn't enough. But when you do it consistently, it adds up. In fact, one of my students did this challenge for 30 days. He spoke to himself in English every day for 1 minute, and at the end of the month, he was so much more confident in his speaking. He felt the difference in his fluency and word recall. Now I'm going to challenge you. After this video, try speaking to yourself in English for just 60 seconds. Pick a topic, set a timer, and go for it. You will be surprised at how much it helps. Can you do it? Speaking is one of the most important skills in language learning. But it's also the one that people often neglect the most. Remember, if you don't practice speaking, it's hard to expect your brain to find the right words when you need them. The more you speak, the easier it becomes. So get out there and start practicing. Every day, even if it's just for a minute. In the next chapter, we'll look at how to use your mistakes to your advantage. Because, believe it or not, those mistakes are actually helping you learn. Stay tuned. Chapter 4. You don't use the right words often enough. Have you ever learned a word, felt proud of yourself, and then found that it disappears the next time you try to use it. Frustrating, right? Well, the reason for that is simple. You didn't use it enough. The truth is, the brain forgets what it doesn't use. It's like any tool. If you don't use it, you lose it. The more you practice and repeat something, the more likely it is to stick. If you only see a word once in a textbook or hear it once in a podcast, it's easy for that word to slip away. But when you use that word in different situations and contexts, your brain starts to recognize it as something important. So how do we make sure we're using the right words often enough? Here's a simple tip. Say the same word in 5 different sentences every day. This will help your brain connect that word to different situations, making it easier to recall. For example, let's say you're learning the word apple. You might use it like this. 1. I ate an apple for breakfast today. 2. My brother threw an apple at me during our argument. 3. Apple pie is my favorite dessert. 4. I love to drink apple juice with my lunch. 5. Have you ever been to an apple orchard? By repeating the word in different contexts, your brain starts to associate it with more ideas, making it easier to use when you need it. Now, let's talk about why funny stories, not flashcards, help you remember words better. Flashcards are great for drilling vocabulary, but they don't make the words stick in your long-term memory. Funny, emotional, or even embarrassing stories, on the other hand, have a much stronger impact. Think about it. Which sentence will you remember more? 1. Apple is a fruit. 2. Yesterday, I threw an apple at my brother because he stole my ice cream. I'm betting you'll remember the second one. Why? Because it's more emotional and memorable. When you laugh, feel surprised, or connect to a story on an emotional level, your brain stores the information much more effectively. It's like the difference between reading a dry definition and remembering a crazy story that made you laugh. Here's another great tip. Use new words in your everyday life. You don't need to wait for a big, formal opportunity to practice. Use new vocabulary in casual, low-pressure settings like WhatsApp messages, journal entries, or even voice notes to yourself. These small, natural moments of practice add up. And don't forget, natural repetition is key. If you keep using the word in different ways, your brain starts to store it in your long-term memory, where it's ready for you to access whenever you need it. Now, you might be thinking, but I don't always have time to practice like this. The truth is, you don't need hours of study time every day. Just integrate language practice into your daily routine. Take a minute to send a funny message to a friend using your new words, or talk to yourself in your journal. Every small action counts. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to get comfortable making mistakes and using them as a tool for learning. Because believe it or not, mistakes are actually your friend when learning a language. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss it. Chapter 5, you learn words the wrong way. Many learners believe that the best way to learn vocabulary is to memorize long lists of words. But here's the truth. Memorizing word lists doesn't work well for speaking. Let me tell you a real story. One of my students spent weeks memorizing over 1,000 words to prepare for an exam. He could write the definitions, spell the words, and even translate them into his native language. But when it came time to use those words in conversation, he could barely use 50 of them. Why? Because he learned the words in isolation, not in real, meaningful contexts. Here's the secret. You should learn in chunks and phrases, not single words. Why? Because we don't speak in isolated words. We speak in phrases, sentences, and ideas. For example, learning just the word decision is good, but it's not enough. What happens when you need to use it in a conversation? You'll probably freeze and forget it. But if you learn a phrase like make a decision, now you've learned a complete thought that you can use easily in different situations. Here's why this works better. Learning with stories, dialogues, and real conversations helps more. When you learn words within a sentence, or even better, within a conversation, you start to see how they connect with other words. This way, when you're speaking, you don't have to think too hard about each word. You can recall phrases that you've already practiced. Context is king. When you learn a word in a sentence or real-life context, you remember how it's used. For example, if you learn the phrase, I made a decision to learn English every day, you are not just remembering the word decision in isolation. You are remembering the entire context of how it's used. Let's take a quick example to highlight this. Word, decision, versus phrase. I made a decision to learn English every day. Which do you remember better? Probably the second one, right? Why? Because it's a real-life, useful context. The word decision on its own doesn't carry much meaning unless you connect it to something practical, like making decisions in your daily life. So, what can you do to improve your learning? Read aloud. When you read, say the words out loud to hear them in real context. Repeat after audio. Listen to native speakers and repeat what they say. This helps you practice the rhythm and flow of the language. Write your own simple stories. Create your own sentences and stories using new words. This makes learning active and helps you remember the words in practical ways. By learning words in context, real learning happens. If you memorize a list of isolated words, you'll be able to remember them, but you won't know how to use them effectively in a conversation. In the next chapter, we'll explore how you can actively create opportunities to practice speaking, even if you're not living in an English-speaking country. Don't miss it. Chapter 6. Your brain needs more time. I know it can feel frustrating when you forget words while speaking English. But let me give you some good news. Forgetting is not failure. It's part of the learning process. Here's why. Forgetting is your brain's way of sorting information. Your brain is constantly organizing and connecting new things. When you forget a word, it doesn't mean you'll never remember it again. It means your brain is still working hard to make that word a permanent part of your vocabulary. Think of memory like a garden. You plant the seed, the word, you water it through practice. And after time, it grows. Sometimes it takes a little while for the seed to sprout, and that's okay. The key is to keep watering it, day by day. The process is slow, but it's happening. So, here's the important part. Give yourself permission to forget. Don't panic or think you're not making progress. Forgetting is a natural part of learning. Every time you forget a word and then remember it again, your memory becomes stronger. This is how long-term learning happens, by repeatedly using what you've learned. Here are a few tips to help. Review the words you've learned regularly. Reuse them in conversations or writing. Repeat the process until it becomes automatic. The more you review and reuse the words, the more your brain will reinforce them over time. These words will pop up easily when you need them. Speaking, reading, and listening together will give you the best results. They all feed into each other, and when you do all three, your brain has more opportunities to make connections and strengthen your memory. Remember, learning a language isn't a race. Every time you forget and then recall something, it's like exercising your memory muscle. You're building strength, and that takes time. So, if you feel like you're not getting it yet, don't worry. You're not bad at English. You're just not finished yet. Keep going. Keep practicing and trust the process. Your brain is working even when you don't see it right away. So now you know why you forget words when you speak English. And more importantly, you know exactly what to do about it. The problem isn't your brain. It's your practice. Speak more. Use words in real life. Talk to yourself. Make mistakes. Laugh at them. Learn from them. That's how you'll improve. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you, please give it a like. It tells YouTube to share it with more learners who need it. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips that actually work. And hey, if you've ever forgotten a word in English while speaking, write it in the comments. Let's learn together and share our experiences. See you in the next video. Thank you for joining me in today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming lessons. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next lesson.